my duties on board the seaplane tender were nuclear weapons officer. On August 4th, there was an alleged attack upon the USS Maddox and Turner Joy, two of our destroyers, in the Gulf of Tonkin. The destroyer personnel indicated at first that they were under attack and later indicated uncertainty as to whether or not they were under attack. Large numbers of torpedoes were supposed to have been fired. The ship was reporting itself as continuously maneuvering to avoid torpedo attack. And yet there was also indicated in these messages doubt as to whether or not they were under attack at all.
And I have a feeling, therefore, that this harassment attack and this attack with 20 or more torpedoes upon two of our destroyers was designed to force us out in a way lest we precipitate a greater struggle. I have a feeling that they've misread America once again.
In the course of our conversation, this chief petty officer told me that he was a sonar man on board the USS Maddox and that he had been in the sonar room during the attack. He told me that in his estimation, there were no torpedoes fired at the ship or otherwise during that alleged attack. And furthermore, he constantly repeated this, sent this information to the commanding officer on the bridge.
The North Vietnamese have no submarines. What is the purpose of that movement?
This is purely precautionary, so that the fleet will be prepared for all eventualities.
What sort of eventualities, General?
Well, possible submarine attack.
By whom?
By anyone.
Well, you always contended that in the first incident they were having...
I'm contending that having the Maddox and the Joy there constituted, in view of the knowledge as to what the South Vietnamese boats were up to, an act of constructive aggression on our part.
The Vietnamese situation, as I noted on my visit back home last week and this week, has taken on some real spirit and real interest. And I thought perhaps a statement by the joint Senate-House Republican leadership would be timely and quite in order at this moment.
As a result of what we have done in South Vietnam, not only has the psychology changed there, but also it has had a most beneficial effect, in my opinion, among other free Asian countries who looked at South Vietnam as a test.
Okay, today's the day. It's the big one. This is the one we've been waiting for. This is the one you've all been saying to yourself, what this company needs is a good fight. By the grace of God, we're going to get it. From there, we're going to S&D, search and destroy, the thing you guys like. Okay. Some of you, I know this is going to be a shock to you, but it's a switch for old Alpha Troop. We're riding in. And we're not riding in on one of those dusty old APCs. We're going in first class. TWA, Teeny Weeny Airlines.
So there you have it. So remember, your new President Hussein, he's always telling you the truth, isn't he? And all your Congress, they're telling you the truth. And it gets even better. Your banksters, they tell you the truth. Well, let's not forget the health care bill, because our president, President Hussein, okay, he's telling you we need health care reform. That's important. Health care reform, right? And then you find out that the health care bill doesn't give you more health, does it? And it's just another tax. And now they get direct access to your bank account. And they can tell you, hey, by the way, you don't get that treatment. A little too expensive, and you're maybe a little too old. But they lied to you and told you this is what we need. This is going to be good for you. And then when you found out when you read it, it was a lie. But the same people who sold you that lie, your same government, in this case, criminals in your government, okay, and the media, they told you, oh, you got to have it, we got to fix healthcare, right? You found out they lied to you, and all the people said they didn't want it, but they passed it anyway. And it was so big they didn't even get a chance to read it all. They lied to you about that. But it was truth when they told you the Muslims did it, right? Because you got to hate Muslims now. Don't forget that. You better start hating your Muslims. Okay, so anyway, let's go in the Patriot Act. This is so that we can get terrorists. Might be one under my shirt. Yeah, so you find out the Patriot Act, everything in it, was to be used against the American people. But they told you it was going to get those terrorists. But all this terrorist stuff turns into be a lie. But you can trust them because they told you it was a bunch of Muslims in a cave. Talk about a joke, okay? Yeah, had nothing to do with the gas pipeline in Afghanistan. Had nothing to do with Saddam didn't want to use the dollar. No. Remember, we attacked and now occupy those countries. Not just war, but occupation. Gets better at $450 million a day. I hope your grandchildren like paying for it, because that's what it is. But once again, yeah, they lied you into Afghanistan. You know, they lied you about 9/11, okay? We'll keep going with it. I want you to remember the Maine. Here's a picture of it sunk. It took 50 years later, okay? But even if you go back 50 years, the captain of the Maine said what? President McKinley said, we were attacked, Spanish-American War, don't forget, in Havana Harbor, right, in Cuba? But the captain said, no, it was a cold fire. 50 years later, they go scuba diving, they found out the metal's blown out from the inside. So it wasn't a mine that the ship hit in the harbor. So not only did, in this case, McKinley, your president, lie to you, but the media lied to you. And guess what? Yeah, we had a war. War is based on lies. Let's go back to Hitler. Let's go Second World War, okay? He has a Reichstag fire, and he also has what? He has Gleiwitz, a staged provocative event they call false flag, if you know your CIA, spy stuff. Check this out. Once again, from Terror Storm by Alex Jones. Hope you enjoy it.
What is a false flag? The encyclopedia definition reads, false flag operations are covert operations conducted by governments, corporations, or by other organizations which are designed to appear as if they were carried out by other entities. The name is derived from the military concept of flying false colors, that is, flying the flag of a country other than your own. There are many variants of false flag operations, but one of the most popular carried out by governments is to stage a terror attack or horrible criminal incident and then blame it on your political enemies. One of the best-known cases of a false flag op was carried out by the newly elected Adolf Hitler on February 27, 1933. Nazi documents uncovered at the end of World War II, as well as testimony during the Nuremberg trials, reveal what many historians already suspected, that Hermann Göring had set fire to the Reichstag, the German parliament building. The Nazis then produced their patsy, Marinus van der Lubbe, an extremely mentally handicapped young man who was found rolling around in an alley behind the Reichstag naked. Van der Lubbe was then taken before a Nazi show trial, found guilty, and sentenced to death. He was beheaded on January 10, 1934. Using the crisis he had created to pass laws similar to the USA Patriot Act, Hitler became dictator and set his sights on the world. By March of 1939, Hitler had already seized Czechoslovakia. Having gained both Austria and Czechoslovakia, Hitler desired to move east against Poland. But he did not want to look like the aggressor. Hitler needed an excuse for attacking Poland. It was Heinrich Himmler who came up with the plan. Thus, the operation was codenamed Operation Himmler. On the night of August 31st, 1939, the Germans took an unknown prisoner from one of the concentration camps, dressed him in a Polish uniform, took him to the town of Gleiwitz on the German-Polish border, and then shot him. The staged scene with the dead prisoner dressed in a Polish uniform was supposed to appear as a Polish attack against the German radio station. German radio, newspapers, and newsreels were flooded with images of what appeared to be a dead Polish soldier who had dared attack the Reich. Now Hitler had his excuse to invade Poland, and the nightmare of World War II had begun.
So Hitler used lies too, huh? And with that in mind, I've got this one for you. Just a little quote. Here's a quote. This is from Hermann Göring at the Nuremberg trials. For all you Holocaust survivors, listen to my words closely, okay? Of course the people don't want war. But after all, it's the leaders of the country who determine the policy. And it's always a simple matter to drag the people along, whether it's a democracy, a fascist dictatorship, or parliament or a communist dictatorship, voice or no voice, the people can always be brought to the bidding of the leaders. That is easy. All you have to do is tell them they're being attacked and denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism. How about, oh, if you ask any questions, you're helping Al-Qaeda.